Hello again, it's Chris Mackay, the camera guy, and this is Chapter 4, The Tale of the Owl, the last steam railroad and the first all-metal monorail camera. So let's start with the owl. Who or what was the owl? Well, the owl was an American photographer called O. Winston Link, and the O stood for Ogle, O-G-L-E. And I had an idea what it meant, but I looked it up on the internet to be sure, and the definition was to stare at lasciviously. So I just wondered, why the parents looking at this beautiful little baby did they say, you know what, let's call it Ogle. Anyway, O. Winston Link didn't try to suppress that name, as some people might have done. He always signed everything O. Winston Link, and O-W-L spells owl, and he used a picture of an owl on all his publicity. And so that's got really nothing to do with the story. It's just, things occur to me and I go down that rabbit hole. Spent a lot of time in underground burrows in my life. Anyway, okay. O. Winston Link was a very successful and good commercial photographer. I went online, as I do, and found all sorts of commercial photographs where he was able to take an object and, the composition's beautiful, and he just made it look great. So he was also very interested in steam railways. He also did audio, so he started out wanting to do and doing making audio recordings of the last steam engines. So the last steam railroad was the Norfolk and Western Railroad based in Roanoke. They were the last railway that didn't have any diesels. They were completely steam. So Winston Link was had done audios, and then he approached them and asked them, could I get access to the stations and whatever, because I want to do some photographs of these beautiful, huge American steam engines before they are gone. And he said, I will finance it myself, but I just want to be given access and cooperation and, let me know when the train's coming in and, things like that, so it works. So, yes, of course you can. Why would they say no? It was to their advantage, and I'm sure they loved their railway engines too. Anyway, but O. Winston Link wanted to photograph all of these steam engines at night. He wanted to be in complete control of the lighting, and during the day, God's in control of the lighting, and you never know what is in God's mind as regards some. I guess you might do in some places, but anyway, I'm going down another rabbit hole there. So where was I? So yes, so he was going to do it at night because he wanted to set off the steam and the smoke against the black sky and the dark. But how was he going to light it? Because obviously would have to be using some light, so it was going to use flash. But this was in the days before electronic flash. So flash in those days was basically a household bulb. In fact, in America, they are the same. It's the Edison screw, and it's the same size. Well, they don't make them anymore. There might be some new old stock somewhere, probably are, but they were the size of a household bulb. Now, if you go on to Google Images and look up O. Winston Link, you'll see these beautiful pictures that he did of the trains. But you will also see the equipment that he used, and there's one where he's got this huge metal reflector and it's just bulbs all round. Well, that would be the front light, but he also, of course, needed to put a light in the station box, the signal box, lights on the station, lights somewhere else, all over. All planned out and all connected with wires, many wires. But he knew what he was doing because his pictures are wonderful. So that's the story of the owl, and it's the story of the last steam railway. But what about the first all-metal monorail camera? Well, this is the camera, not this one, this is mine. His is actually in the museum at Roanoke Station, I believe. There's a museum of his photographs and the equipment he used. This is a Graflex Graphic View, and it's the first all-metal monorail camera. It's not the first monorail camera. A company in Berlin called Stegemann came out in the 20s with a camera which was a monorail. They took the wooden front standard, wooden rear standard, and they just replaced what would have been a flat base, which would fold up usually and make it portable. But it was just a studio. It was called the studio camera, and so they just put a wooden triangular monorail. So that was the first monorail camera, but it wasn't metal. Then I think somebody at Graflex must have looked at that and thought that's a good idea, and they basically copied that idea, but they made it all out of metal. It's aluminium or aluminum, with a triangular monorail, which was definitely copying Stegemann. And I think that's the only those are the only two triangular monorail cameras. Everybody else went for round ones or square ones. Sounds like something out of geography, doesn't it? Round, square, triangle. Yes, okay. Anyway, there it is. It's Art Deco. It's absolutely beautiful. It does everything it needs to do. It's very small and portable for a monorail. It came in a very light carrying case. Yeah, it's a very beautiful camera, made in the early 40s. It has the graphic back of the time, which is, you can open this up and see your ground glass. That's taking its time to come out. And okay, so you can pose your picture on the ground glass. Very often you don't need a dark slide with this. You can peer in and see enough. And then once having got your composition, you had to take the whole back off, which you do by taking that off, and then you will put your film holder in here and lock it in place and take the picture. And then if you were going to take the other one, take it out, put the dark slide back in, turn it around, take the next picture, and then off you go. If you wanted to go from portrait to landscape, you just undo these two and it goes the other way around. So it works. It's a bit not as quick as the later cameras where you can just slide the dark slide in, but if you've set up about 100 flash bulbs all linked together, and you carefully compose your picture, and you know where the steam train engine's going to be, and you know exactly when you're going to take the picture, you're not in a hurry. And you're not going to take the second picture either, because all of the flash bulbs have gone off, and you have to take them all out and replace them if you wanted to do the second picture. So you had to get it in one, and Winston Link got it in one. Alright, so that's the beautiful Graflex Graphic View camera. I love it, actually I do. Now, there's a third, something else that I wanted to share with you. Winston Link obviously loved steam trains. There was, I know why I got into this. As I'm looking at this, this camera came with this whole bottom contraption, and you can tighten that up a little bit and move it around. It's very smooth, and it's sort of not quite a fluid head, I think, but it's almost. And that led me to look up fluid heads on the internet, and so I just put in fluid head, and the first thing that came up was an eBay auction. Well, quite a lot of eBay auctions, but the first one was an O'Connor fluid head, Oconnor with no apostrophe, just straight through. And the price of this fluid head was 26,000 and some pounds. And I thought, well, that's got to be a misprint. So I looked at some more, and there were some for far less, like hundreds of pounds. But then another O'Connor fluid head, £30,000. So, well, what do you do if you come across that? Obviously, you look up O'Connor fluid heads, right? So I found their website, and they have a menu, and in it there's something that says the O'Connor story. So of course I looked for the O'Connor story, and found out that it was founded by a gentleman called Chad O'Connor, and he, like Winston Link, although living in California, was a steam railway enthusiast and was trying to make movies with his Bell and Howell movie camera of these last steam engines. But he was not happy with the results of his panning and tilting. It was all jerky and not at all up to his expectations or hopes. And so, being an engineer, which he was, and a very skillful man, I guess, he just went home and invented a fluid head. Just like that. He went into his garage and made a fluid head. I went back to Glendale Station when he got it made, set up the camera on the fluid head on the tripod, and was photographing, making the video, the movie of the train coming in. And another gentleman came and stood beside him and was very interested in the camera and looking at it and asking questions. And Chad showed him the camera and the fluid head, and the gentleman said, "That's wonderful." He said, "Could you make me one?" "Oh, yeah, I guess I could." So they had to exchange names. So yeah, my name's Chad O'Connor, and you are? "Oh, my name is Walt Disney." So, Walt Disney was also a steam railway enthusiast. Anyway, Chad went home and made a fluid head for Walt and delivered it. So Walt took the fluid head and he used it to make a documentary called The Living Desert. And that was the first documentary to win an Academy Award. I'm not saying it won the Academy Award because it was shot on the O'Connor fluid head, but it helped because everything panned so smoothly, and you know, every little helps, right? So Walt Disney then went back to Chad and said, "That's fabulous, I love it. Can you make me 10 more?" Oh gosh, I mean, Chad had his own job to do, and anyway, he did, and then that all worked out very well, and he ended up founding O'Connor Fluid Heads. He had an apostrophe in his name. I don't know why it got lost in the company carelessness. I don't know, but anyway, that's the story of the O'Connor Fluid Head and 3 American gentlemen who all love steam railroads. Now there's another end to this story. O. Winston Link was married twice, and his second wife was much younger than he was. And when he was very old, she claimed that she had power of attorney over him, which she didn't. She started selling his properties, copyrighted photographs, for her profit. And I guess Winston Link found out, because there must have been an almighty bust-up, because she went to jail for 3 years, and I think while she was in jail, Winston Link passed away. And when she came out of jail, she did it again. She started selling his photographs, I think by mail order. And I guess it must have been his estate, or anyway, she went to jail again. She conned him while he was alive, and she cheated him after he was dead. And she was extremely appropriately named, because her name was, can you guess? I just told you. Her name was Conchita. And so that's the tale of the owl, the last steam railroad, and the first all-metal monorail camera. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will join me for the next one. As I said before, I don't know what it's going to be about, but I'll think of something. Okay, thank you so much.